I was once the most famous simp in school. For the sake of a girl, I gave up my studies, my health, and almost died from obsession. But in this second life, I decided to live for myself. Yeah, when I decided to stop being a simp, the school beauty who once broke my heart suddenly panicked. She started chasing me. From simp to comeback, just how far can I go? She's way too shy, Alex Z thought, glancing away with a smirk. Alex C was staring daggers at him. What? Alex Z looked genuinely confused. Why didn't you drink the Coke I bought you? Her voice trembled, her eyes misty, like she was on the verge of tears. It's all the same, right? I'm not really into soda, Alex Z replied casually. Fine, whatever. Sarah C huffed and handed the Coke to Michael C. You drink it then. Michael C glanced at Alex Z and shook his head like a drum. Nah, I don't like soda either. Bottled water's way better. Sarah C stared at him stunned. She'd never imagined that guy would turn down her gift. Hello. He monitored Larry Z grin and said, I'll take it if no one wants it. I love Coke. Sarah C handed it to him without hesitation, worried the drink would go undrank. Laura T, trying to defend her friend, snapped Alex Z. Michael C, you guys really don't appreciate kindness. Michael C just shrugged, totally unbothered. Alex E stayed calm as ever, completely unfazed by her attitude. After taking a deep breath, Sarah C said to Alex Z, Alex Z, come play badminton with me for a bit. Before, it had always been Alex Z who asked her to play. She'd rejected him every time. But now, to stake her claim in front of Isabel T, she decided to ask him herself, certain he'd say yes. Isabel T glanced at Alex Z out of the corner of her eye. Her mood suddenly sank. She also wanted to ask him to play badminton, but didn't have the courage. No thanks, I've got a review later. Alex C shook his head and turned her down. He wasn't the same old lovesick simp who came running whenever she called. Alex E, you Sarah C froze again. How could he reject her so directly? Had he really moved on? While Sarah C stood stunned, Alex C finished the bottle of water. Then he turned to Michael C. Let's play one more round, then head back to review. Michael C noticed Alex Z didn't seem to care about Sarah C anymore. He beamed. You got it. Let's go. Bill, find a shady spot and rest for a bit. Alex C called back as he walked toward the court. Bill? He called me Bill. Isabel T's eyes widened as she stared in disbelief at Alex C's back. Holy, Sarah C, did you hear that? Alex actually called her Belle? Laura T's eyes were wide open. That nickname was way too intimate. High schoolers at this time were still pretty conservative. Even a slightly affectionate nickname could spark wild thoughts. That's why both Isabel T and Laura T had the exact same reaction. So what? He calls me Sarah too. Sarah C snapped back, trying to show a flicker of panic. Alex Z didn't drink the Coke she bought him. He even turned down her offer to play badminton. She was genuinely worried what if he really gave up on her? That would be way too embarrassing. Under the shade of a tree, Isabel T quietly watched Alex D playing basketball. Her cheeks were flushed, and her face showed a tangled mix of emotions. Alex D dominated the game with his skills, completely shutting out the opposing team. Isabel T was captivated, totally absorbed in watching him. Until Alex Z walked over, panting, and asked, well, did I look cool out there? Huh? Isabel T looked up, face burning red. Meeting those deep, dark eyes of his, she quickly lowered her head again. Super cool, she whispered. Alex Z stood at 5'10", with sharp eyebrows, bright eyes, and clean Midas-cut features. His messy hair gave him a late Midas-back look, and his gaze carried a kind of depth far beyond his age. I think so too. Alex Z grinned shamelessly. Narcissist! Isabel D turned and walked toward the school building. Hey, Bill. Want to play some badminton? Alex shouted from behind. He said Bell again. Isabel T's face turned bright red as she quickened her pace. After the game, Alex Z went to the locker room, changed into a clean uniform, then returned to the classroom to review English with Isabel T. While they were fully focused on studying, a girl with a ponytail walked up to Isabel T's desk. Class monitor, I was wondering if you could help me with a chemistry question. Her voice was soft and nervous. Of course. Isabel T looked up and smiled. Alex Z also looked up in the next second. His pupils shrank sharply. Kristen G., one of the students from the school's hardship aid program. On the day of the college entrance exam, she was assaulted by a taxi driver. When the police found her body, it was unrecognizable. Her body contained DNA from 7 or 8 different people. Before Alex D died in his previous life, the men who hurt Kristen J were never brought to justice. Her family had gone bankrupt trying to find the culprits, but never got any answers. Alex Z's breathing quickened, his knuckles whitening around the pen in his hand. Alex Z, can you let her sit here? Isabel T turned to him. Seeing the look on his face, she thought he was unwilling, and quickly added, we can go study by the window instead. Kristen J nodded gently. Alex Z stood up and said, no need, she can sit here. Thank you. Kristen J blushed and gave him a small smile. Alex Z took a deep breath and looked at her a little longer than necessary, then walked to an empty seat by the window. Now that he had been reborn, some things had changed, but many events still seemed to follow the same path. The tragedy of Kristen G would likely still happen. Alex Z exhaled slowly. He made up his mind he would protect her. Maybe this was the reason he got a second chance at life. Under Isabel T's patient guidance, Kristen J finally understood the problem. Thank you, class monitor. I get it now. Isabel T gave her a warm smile. No problem. Come find me anytime you have questions. Okay. Kristen J nodded hard, nearly moved to tears. Because of her poor background, Kristen G was shy and reserved. She rarely interacted with her classmates, and almost no one wanted to hang out with her. She had tried asking a top chemistry student for help, but they made excuses to brush her off. In his past 2 days, the class monitor had been patiently tutoring Alex Z, so she decided to try asking her. She didn't expect Isabel T would actually say yes. Kristen Alex Z returned to his seat, holding a textbook. Yes, I'm here. Kristen G looked at him obediently and said softly, Alex, yeah, thank you for giving me your seat earlier. Alex Z had given up his seat, and the class monitor had helped her with chemistry. It was the first time she truly felt kindness from classmates. Her heart felt a little brighter. Why don't you live in the dorms? Alex Z asked. Her home was far from school, which was why she'd taken a taxi on the day of the college entrance exam. If she lived on campus, maybe the tragedy could be avoided. My parents work out of province. My grandma had a stroke and is bedridden. I need to take care of her, Kristen lowered her head as she spoke. What happens to your grandma while you're at school? Isabel Tay asked, frowning. During neighbors help watch over her. At night, I take care of her myself. Ding-ling-ling. The dismissal bell rang. Class monitor, Alexy, thank you both. I need to head home and cook dinner for my grandma. Kristen Jill said with a quick bow and hurried off. Isabel T sighed. No wonder she's always so frugal. She won't even take the bus most days. Alex Z whirled the pen in his fingers, deep in thought. Kristen G had a bedridden grandma to care for, so dorm life probably wasn't an option. And boarding fees at a key high school weren't cheap either. It looked like the only solution was to make sure she didn't take a taxi on the day of the college entrance exam. Alex Z, can you walk me home? Isabel T suddenly turned and asked after packing her books. But you have to buy me a Coke, Alex Z said with a grin, still spinning his pen. I thought you didn't like soda. That depends on who gives it to me. Isn't it all the same? Not even close. Come on, let's go. Alex Z slung his bag over one shoulder, shoved one hand into his pocket, and walked off. Isabel T pushed her glasses up her nose, lips curling into a sweet smile. Later, at Fandu Garden neighborhood, a red 1996 Santana was parked by the entrance. Seeing Tony Z all dressed up, neighbor Megan W joked, Whoa, Amina, your husband get a promotion or what? Amina Z's mouth twitched, please. I'd be happy if he didn't get fired. Promotion? You're right. Is today your anniversary or something? Megan W teased. Nope. Tony's older brother is coming over for dinner. Ah, that explains the grocery haul. Oh shoot, my daughter's almost out of school. I gotta pick her up. Can you take these home for me? Megan W shoved the groceries into Amina's arms. Amina Z, carrying multiple bags, walked toward Tony Z, muttering, seriously, trying to act rich when we're not. Tony slouched his head and smiled sheepishly. You know how my brother is. If we don't put on a little show, he'll definitely look down on us. We don't mind, but we've got a safe face for our son. Dad! Mom, I'm home! Alexei screeched to a stop on his bike right next to the Santana. Seeing the red Santana, Alexei's expression turned a little strange. That car was borrowed. It must mean his dad was planning to pick up his uncle's family from the airport. Back in 2004, a Santana cost over 200,000 yuan, basically like a Langby over in the future. You go help your mom with dinner. I'm heading to the airport to pick up your uncle. Tony Z petted Alexei's shoulder and got into the car. Watching the Santana drive away, Alex Z sighed inwardly. In his past life, he wasted his studies chasing after Sarah C and never gave his parents a better life. This time, he was determined to be a good son. At home, Amina Z walked straight into the kitchen. Alex J, clean up the house. Doesn't matter if it's clean or not, Alex Z muttered under his breath. What did you say? Nothing. Alex Z quickly grabbed the broom and started cleaning. He remembered in his last life, his uncle's family also visited. He had cleaned the house spotless, but his aunt still called it dirty. They didn't come to visit, they had just made some money and came to show off.